Hey guys, welcome back to another installment of Developing Your Psychic Gifts. Okay, so just to recap, first we talked about the difference between the conscious and subconscious minds, right? Conscious minds is basically your human self. Subconscious mind is your spiritual self, okay? And then the second thing we talked about was meditation. And meditation basically teaches you how to kind of quote unquote suppress the conscious mind and learn how to open yourself up to the subconscious mind and subconscious messages. Well, in today's installment, we're going to talk about those messages, right? Once you have learned to kind of suppress your humanness, it automatically by default opens you up to universal knowledge, universal language, universal lessons, right? First and foremost, let's talk about those languages, and let's talk about, then we'll talk about those lessons. The languages, you have to understand that humans are the only forms who use English, okay? So when you're getting certain messages, when you're getting certain hunches, you know, the beautiful thing about the four senses, the clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance, right? These are like different channels that the universe will use to send and transmit messages to you. The clairaudience, it is not a physical voice like you hear my voice right now. It's almost like your mind's voice, okay? I do need to mention something that's very important, okay? Negative energy speaks loud, just like me, and it's very articulate, and it's clear, and it's in English form, okay? Positive, and not just positive energy, but the higher and higher the vibration, it's very soft. It's a notion. It's a feeling. It's yes. You know, sometimes it's like, wait a minute, what was that? Right? Because sometimes it doesn't even come through. Like a lot of times you'll basically miss it, okay? So when these subtle messages are coming in, you now can identify, say, for instance, what is a message of light and what is a message of not light, okay? The other thing, too, is any kind of negative energy is going to cause alarms to go off with your chakras, right? First and foremost, with your solar plexus, right? Anytime anything is light and I'm vibrating high, it's like my solar plexus does this, okay? When I'm feeling fear and anxiety and, you know, just any kind of negative emotions, it feels like knots, right? It's closed and it's clenched. It's kind of like the equivalent of whatever that knots in your stomach is. You feel very closed and very, you know, kind of cut off from energy, so to speak. Okay? So now that we've talked about, as an example, the types of sending and receiving of information and the different types of channels, right? Clairaudience is sound. It's not physical sound. It's a mind's ear, right? Clairvoyance is clear sight, right? It's the mind's eye. I see this, the premonitions. I, you know, envision this, okay? It's visualization, right? Claircognizant is just that instant knowing, instant believing. You just automatically know something is, and obviously you don't know how you don't know, right? And then clairsentience is you just feel it. It's almost like your heart muscle, as an example, or your heart picks up different frequencies, right? Negative energy, your heart is going to feel, again, closed, or you're going to feel like that vibration drop. It's going to close up. It's going to, you know, feel apprehensive. It's going to feel almost even nervous, right? A lot of empaths are clairsentient, right? They can kind of, quote unquote, feel things. And I don't mean physical touch, but I mean more so emotional. They can feel and they can interpret certain things using emotions. Okay, so each one of these things, clairvoyance, clear vision, clairaudience, clear hearing, claircognizance, clear knowing, clairsentience, clear feeling, right? These are like 4 of the different channels in which your messages, or you're going to be able to receive certain messages. Now, let's say, for instance, you've learned how to suppress the conscious mind. Now you open yourself to receive messages during these 4 channels, right? Now, these are not just the only 4, by the way. Your relationship, as I mentioned in previous videos, your relationship with the universe is customized to you. So if the universe decides, you know what, we're going to send you messages in these ways that I have not even mentioned here, then that's between you and the universe. It doesn't mean that they're wrong. It doesn't mean that, oh, you have a gift that nobody else has. It's just how the universe will communicate with you specifically, because 2 things are true. 2 major things are true. Okay. Number 1, they want you to hear and know that these messages are coming through. So obviously they're going to say them in your language, right? The second thing too is not only that you are hearing or receiving certain information, but the information also that you're receiving, you may need to do something about it. I know for sure, especially in my experiences, there were times when I had to play messenger. Right? Kind of you saw Teresa Caputo on Long Island Medium. She would just walk up to people and give them information. That's the role, say, for instance, of a messenger. I have this package and I have to deliver it to the person it's meant for. You may not know the person, right? You may not know what's contained in the package, right? Your responsibility is to deliver it. It's almost like God is using you as like the Amazon or like the universe, like the post office. It's going to send you a package and it's up to you to deliver that package to the person it's meant for. The other thing too, right, is now you say to yourself, okay, Alex, I have this information. I'm open, I'm receiving, right? This is also a time too to talk about certain things that you may be curious about your own existence and your own life path. And, when psychologists and other, healers use regression therapy, right? When hypnotists kind of start to hypnotize people, they have to kind of, put that person in a trance where they can kind of go back into their kind of quote unquote recorded history to figure certain things out, to connect the dots, to get explanations, to answer certain questions. Okay. So that's also another reason too, or another, circumstance in which when your portal is open, the types of information that you can get, right? Once your portal is open and you do start receiving messages, for me, I would strongly suggest that you start kind of quote unquote testing the universe. Now, I don't mean this in a negative, malicious way. I just mean, hey, let's test the frequency. Let's make sure I have a clear channel. My data is coming through clear. I'm recognizing it. I'm understanding it. I'm comprehending it. I know what to do with it, right? So I would start a dialogue with the spirit on the other side of that communication or on the other side of that portal. For me personally, I would hear things like, oh, go here, go do this. You need to do this, find out this, right? And in the beginning, I'm like, I don't know, that sounds weird. But the more I started to do the things that they wanted me to do, I started seeing enlightenment happen over and over and over, right? Not only that, but for those of you who believe in and can see synchronicity, I mean, you see the dots as they are being connected, the more that you're kind of following guidance and following, information that spirits are telling you. Now, the beautiful thing is, too, I know with me personally, I'm not somebody who's just going to believe whatever you tell me. So there are some times that I challenge my angels and challenge my spirits to validate certain information. Excuse me, I recall one time I was going to Walmart and I was frustrated. And I'm like, guys, if you're here, I'm going to walk into this store and I'm going to come out with free dog food. Because I knew I had to go in and get dog food. And dog food at that time was like 20 bucks. Okay. And I'm just frustrated. I'm like, okay, you want me to believe in you? Then prove your existence. Right. And I go in and I, get everything I need to get. I cash out. I pay for everything and I leave the store. And as I'm getting back to my vehicle, I pull out the receipt and I saw that the cashier forgot to ring up the dog food. True story, I promise you. True story. She forgot to ring up the dog food. I did not see the dog food item on that receipt. So technically, I got a free bag of dog food. And that's exactly what I challenged my angels and spirit guides to show me. Now, of course, once I thought that, I was like, all right, I'm done. All right, sorry guys, I apologize. Please forgive me. And I've been a believer, not necessarily ever since, but I've been a stronger believer ever since. And of course, I've had experiences like that over and over and over, where every now in my frustration, I challenge the universe, I charge the universe, I get angry at the universe, and consistently they have kept showing up over and over and over and over, right? To the point where I just received a message a couple of days ago that basically said that anger, right? That kind of quote unquote fury, right? It's not necessarily a negative type of anger, as in I want harm or I want negativity to happen, right? It's more of a fury like, okay, do good and validate and show me. I want more. I'm trying, right? Angels basically said to me, listen, the energy behind that fury, like it catapults law of attraction. It shoots it out like a rocket ship. And I notice anytime that I'm angry, my stuff manifests. I remember one night I was on my patio in the back and I was pissed off. I was like, you know what? I'm a good person and I do this and I do this. The fact that I keep getting this is bullshit and this, that, or the other. I need this now. And again, I promise you the next day, what I was asking for showed up. So it's not, say, for instance, the negative language, humanness on top of it. It's the purity of that forceful energy, if that makes sense, right? The universe is really, really, really keen and simple when it comes to positive and negative. If I was furious and wanted to do negative harm to somebody, the potency of that negative energy would have just come back on me, because that's what karma is, right? But because 9 times out of 10, even though I'm cursing, even though I'm angry, even though I'm furious in some situations, my angels, my God knows my heart, right? They know I'm not trying to do harm. They know I'm trying to do better. They know I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get past something. I'm trying to get to the next level, right? So that's why, as an example, even though I'm angry, I bypass the whole karma thing because my heart is still pure, okay? And not only that, but I say to people all the time, angels, God, universe do not speak English. So if I'm using shit and fuck and you know, profanity, right? That's like the surface level stuff, right? The only thing, say for instance, that the universe is paying attention to is the glow of my heart, right? Is it glowing in a light way, which means positive energy? Or is it glowing in a negative way, which means negative energy, right? That's all the universe is paying attention to. So as an example, if I was angry, it's like, you know what, this one's getting on my nerves. I hope they lose their job. I hope this happens to them. That's negative energy. And I have to tell you, especially someone in my position, if for some reason I have those thoughts and I put them out there, the karma is ridiculously quick. It's ridiculously quick. And it comes back on me, right? You know, I send it out as like a bullet. It comes back to me like a nuclear bomb, right? Because again, when you put it out there, it's going to gather some momentum and energy, and it's going to come back and knock you on your ass, okay? So when it comes to paying attention to the negative energy, that's, you know, kind of, you know, that receiving those downloads and you getting information from the universe, right? But when it also comes to you kind of quote unquote commanding the universe or speaking things into existence or requesting things from the universe, your words don't matter. What matters 100% of the time is the things that are behind the words, which are your emotions, right? People tend to say, oh, if you don't say it, it doesn't matter. Universe is not that fucking stupid, okay? The other thing too is, oh, well, I didn't say it. I mean, I thought it, but universe is not that stupid, okay? If you have created the energy inside of you, Okay, even momentarily. If you created the negative energy inside of you, universe is going to pick up on it really quick. Okay, so when it comes to, as an example, law of attraction, you know, manifesting has partly to do with what you are requesting, your words, but it has more and everything to do with what you're vibrating at and what you are feeling. Okay, so again, just to recap, okay, you have the 4 different languages: Clairaudience, Clairvoyance, Clairsentience, and Claircognizance. There are a couple of more, but I think, you know, personally, these are the 4 majors. Now that you have learned to meditate, right, and you've learned to quiet the subconscious mind, now you can listen for messages using one of these 4 channels, okay? Now, the messages that you receive are the universe's way of saying and tweaking, hey, you can hear me, but aside from you hearing me, do you trust the guidance I'm giving you, right? So you hear me, and now are you following my direction and advice? And when you do, enlightenment will be your reward. Enlightenment will be the result, right? So are you following those to let me know, yes, I'm paying attention, I hear, I'm tuned in, okay? So now the universe is like, okay, we got a good one. We got a good one. She's paying attention, she's hearing. Let's just send her a bunch of information and more information. One thing that's key to note, when that portal is open, you can receive any universal information out there. One thing that I need to mention as well is mediumship, right? Being able to hear, you know, loved ones who have passed on. Well, again, once you suppress the conscious mind, you can hear any universal chatter that you want, okay? The universe, again, is like the master teacher. It's not going to give you everything at once unless you can handle it, right? It's not going to give you everything at once. It's not going to just, you know, dump all 4 channels on you right away, and then you start hearing your grandma and your great-grandma coming at you. It's not going to do that. That's why, you know, the Bible says God is not going to give you more than you can handle. So, and not only that, but again, the universe knows you. You are a child, you're an officer, you are a representative of this universe. So if you're somebody who needs to go slow, the universe is going to send you slow. Me personally, I need stuff sometimes at lightning speed because that's just my energy, right? So the universe, again, will give me all of this information. I'm talking, again, like an atomic bomb's worth of information because it knows I can decipher and slice and dice them up like that, right? I remember there was one time I had somebody reading for me and they had to say, okay, your guides are giving me stuff at a lightning speed. I can't keep up. So I need for them to slow down. And again, that's because of my relationship and who they know me to be. Okay. So the universe knows you. They know how to bring that information in. Okay. So now that you have, say, for instance, the 4 channels, the next step is for the universe to come in and validate the information. Not only that, it's not interested in showing you who it is or proving or trying to make you a believer. That's on your own, right? But it is going to give you certain quote unquote tasks and challenges and say, hey, this one needs to know that their mother, when they loved, you know, when they passed away, that they were on their heart and they loved them very much. And when you go and tell that person, you'll experience something like, oh my God, I broke down. They just start crying. They're like, hey, I broke down yesterday, or I was thinking about this yesterday, and it was a question that was just burned. They'll give you confirmation that what the universe was telling you was on time and it was perfect. It was a perfect time and it was in the perfect order. Okay. That's another thing too, real quick, that when it comes to the language you use, and especially me being a psychic, I have to be very, very careful of the words that come out of my mouth, because people believe in psychics, right? They believe that the information is coming, you know, they're like a kid on Christmas Day or a kid with the tooth fairy. They're believing in this notion or this realm, right? And you are a representative of how that information comes across, because what's attached to that is their psychology, is their emotional, is their mental, is there this, is there, you know, just kind of other things. I remember I was working for a psychic service, and this woman, God bless her, she had just recently lost her daughter. Her daughter committed suicide. And I'm sitting here on the phone after, you know, maybe 10 minutes of conversation. And I said to her, you know, I honor your daughter, right? I said, I honor your daughter, and I'm very proud of her at taking a stand and choosing her destiny herself. Now, in my mind, my conscious mind, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? This woman just lost her daughter, right? But Spirit was driving that through me, driving the authority and the power and the guts it took. And she stood up for herself. And the mom said to me something like, you know what? I never looked at it like that before, but you're right. I honor her decision. And again, when you hit that particular mark, you get responses like that. For people who are at lower energy and who can feel it, but haven't gotten it yet, yeah, you do have to kind of duck and take cover, because they're going to basically try to curse you out, or what the hell is wrong with, you know what I mean? But again, at the end of the day, the spirit, angels, God, guide, whoever's giving you that information, they're also at the same time going to say, hey, say this, say it in this way, say it with this fury, say it with this force, say it with this power, because again, it's all coming from loving and positive energy, right? And again, if your person and the person you are speaking to needs it and can receive it in that way, you're going to get positive results. Now, in other situations where your receiver is not necessarily in that place, your spirit guide, believe it or not, is going to say, hey, they need to know this, but you got to say it in a way that they can understand, right? Now you got to get creative, because it's like, oh, crap. Like, you know, and in my cases, you know, I always use questions to help lead people to the answer that I'm actually needing to convey. So it was almost like, hey, well, do you think she, you know, in her lifetime, was she somebody who, you know, stood up for herself, or, you know, was she comfortable in her skin? And you'll hear the mom say something like, well, no, she was always a shy person and timid. And well, you know what? I guess this was her way of speaking up for herself and standing up for herself, right? So it's almost like, instead of you saying it, you lead them to that point, and then they'll say it for you. And then, you know, the answer was delivered and understood, received, and, you know, kind of communicated back, right? So you have your confirmation that what Spirit wanted you to kind of convey was received and validated, right? Real quick, confirmation is very important, especially for those of you who are new to using your, you know, psychic abilities. You need to know that what Spirit has conveyed actually happened, right? It's almost like just sharpening a pencil, right? You just need to know, hey, I sharpened it. Now it's writing perfectly. I can convey my message. That's all that is. A lot of people take it egotistically as like, yeah, you know, I got these gifts and abilities. Spirit will, believe it or not, shut down on you once the ego starts to get in the way. And of course, the reason being is because now the conscious mind is coming in to block the subconscious. So, you know, you're not going to get too many messages there. Okay. So now we've talked about, again, those 4 channels and how Spirit will give you information and give you direction, give you guidance. They'll make you a messenger. It's a big responsibility. To more that is given, more is going to be expected. So it's something that if that portal does open for you, it absolutely does not close back. But I know for somebody like me, I honor it so much. I mean, you guys cannot imagine the sacred heart spaces that I've been in. You know, I've helped people, especially who are absolutely top on my list, are those people who are suicidal, where to an extent, it's almost like you may hold the balance of their lives in your hand, right? And it's just not something that I take lightly. I will never take that lightly, right? And you, in some cases, you don't know what to say. I know it gets to the point now when I'm reading or when I'm talking to people, Spirit will come in and Spirit will take control of all of this. And it's to the point now where I'm just a puppet and it's spirit who's speaking through me, right? And again, that's just because of my training. It's because of my discipline. I'm very disciplined. It's to the point now where sometimes I'm like, God, I don't want to do that. Like, and it's just like, all right, I know I got to do it. Okay. All right, God. Right. And you just do it. And some cases, like I said, you take cover, you do it, you get off the phone like, okay, thanks, love you, bye. Right. Like you do it because, again, you're disciplined and you know and you trust their information. And then you just kind of move on. Okay. So for this phase, again, just to recap, now that you're mastering meditation, now sit and start to have conversations and have a dialogue with the universe. And now, not only that, but start testing their guidance, start testing their information, not testing in an egotistical way, but testing in a way like, I don't know. I'm curious. I'm learning. Hey, what do I do now? It's to the point sometimes, or I've gotten to the point in the past where I was using angels for everything, It's like, okay, guys, what should I wear with this? You know, if I lose something, literally, I'll be like, all right, guys, where are my keys? And they'll lead me right to the keys. It may take a couple of, running up and downstairs a couple of times, but eventually they'll be like, there they are, right? And I tested that one day because one day I was like, okay, I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to look for myself. And it took me longer, right, to find them. But then one day I'm like, okay, guys, I can't find this. Can you please help me find this, right? And as soon as I call on them, I swear to you guys, they answer, they show up, right? So learn basically how to hear them, how to communicate with them, what channel they're using to send you that information, and then validate and verify that information with human physical deeds, right? Receive confirmation and validation from a human physical level, because that's just going to open the portal up more and more and more and more. Now, by the way, I will give you guys a soft warning, right? I say soft because it's not detrimental, it's not scary or anything like that. Me personally, when I started learning all this and I was like, yeah, okay, I got it. Like, hey, I'm listening, I'm hearing, I'm vibing. I kind of denounced humanity, and not humanity, but I denounced, being human. I didn't want to be human. I felt like I was in an elite club and I don't want to be here anymore. And I'm going to try to live as a spirit and pure and clean. It doesn't work. You're here. You got to fuck up. You got to make mistakes. You got to do dumb shit. You still got to live your life. Okay. The only difference is that you're kind of living your life now with a cheat sheet, whereas other people kind of have to go through trials and tribulations to learn the stuff, say, for instance, you have access to right off the bat, right? Now, you say to yourself, okay, I got the cheat sheet. Well, if I know I'm going to fail, I'm not going to take the test. You can't do that too. Again, you got to go through your evolutionary lessons and your evolutionary tests and tricks and all of that stuff, because you got to grow like everybody else do. There was a long time when I'm like, well, I'm not going to do this because I already know the outcome. And Angels is like, this heifer. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, we can't give her the message this way because she already knows what's coming. So what they started to do is they started to sneak it in areas that were unsuspecting, right? So as an example, if they wanted me to learn like a message I typically would have learned in a romantic relationship, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. I'm not dating anybody, whatever, whatever. They just snuck the information in a work relationship or a family relationship, right? So as an example, if I was supposed to learn about forgiving and, forgiving people for the sins that they commit against me, like lying or cheating or whatever, that same betrayal that should have happened in a personal relationship, they just moved it over to work, right? Then the absolute last thing that I will say is, because I got big eyes, right? I can see, I can tell, I can know, I can feel things coming along. The universe is still the universe, right? If they know I'm going to find out about it, they know I'm going to see it, they'll either not show it to me, they'll block it to me, right? Or they'll lead me down another road to distract me while they bring around the message to me. So again, it is very important for you guys to understand and realize that this universe knows you better than you know yourself. Okay, it's not going to give you more than you can handle. All right, guys, This was a bit of a long video. I hope it helps. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them below. And maybe I'll even host a live session at some point where you can ask your questions and even share your experiences with one another. Anyway, guys, I hope that helps. Take care, and I love you so much. Bye.